Arvydas Sabonis was the first unicorn that the basketball world had ever seen. At 7'3", his playstyle was different from the typical center, as he could run the floor, block shots, rebound, bring the ball up the court, make amazing passes, and stretch the floor out to the three-point line. From the age of 17, Arvydas was a monster, winning 3 Soviet League titles, the EuroBasket MVP, and a FIBA World Cup Championship all before he turned 22. By now, the NBA had taken notice, as the Blazers picked him 24th overall in 1986, even after he tore his Achilles. But due to the political climate at the time, the Soviet Union wouldn't allow him to play for Portland, robbing them of a chance to pair him alongside a young Clyde Drexler. By the time he was finally able to play for the Blazers, it was 1995, and Arvydas was 31 years old with an extensive injury history and limited mobility. Even though he was a shell of his former self, he still served as the Blazers starting center for 6 years, as they lost a highly controversial Game 7 in the 2000 Conference Finals against the Lakers, as this is still the closest that Portland has gotten to the NBA Finals in 25 years. Arvydas finally retired in 2005 after a 23-year career, as he is recognized as one of the greatest international players ever. His sons would follow in his footsteps, with his youngest son Domantas currently playing at an all-star level with the Kings. But what if Arvydas was allowed to play for the Blazers in his prime? As one can only imagine how good Portland would have been in the 80s. Arvydas has one of the biggest what-if stories in basketball history, but he still deserves his respect for his role in growing the international game. Welcome to PC Hoops, and let's get down to it. Arvydas was born in Kaunas, Lithuania on December 19, 1964. At the age of 13, he developed a passion for basketball, as by the age of 15, he was good enough to play on the Soviet junior national team. In 1981, the 17-year-old Sabonis made his pro debut for his hometown club Žalgiris. In his 8 years with the team, he won 7 different Player of the Year awards, 3 consecutive Soviet Premier League titles, and the FIBA Club World Cup. In the 1988 Seoul Olympics, Arvydas averaged 12 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks, as he and Sarunas Marciulionis led the Soviet Union to a gold medal, as the US had to settle for a bronze. Back in 1985, Arvydas was selected 77th overall by the Hawks in the draft, but the pick was voided by the league because he was under 21 at the time. He would tear his Achilles the following spring, but nonetheless, he was drafted again by the Blazers with the 24th pick in 1986. However, since Lithuania was still controlled by the Soviet Union, they wouldn't allow Sabonis to play in the US, mostly due to the Cold War, which soured the relationship between the Soviet Union and America. Sabonis would also admit that he didn't feel 100% ready for the NBA, as he didn't want to leave his family, while his agent was also feeding him misinformation about his potential safety in America. In 1989, Sabonis left Žalgiris and signed with the Spanish club Forum Valladolid. In his first season with the team, he averaged 23 points, 13.5 rebounds, and 3.5 blocks, along with shooting 41% from 3. He continued this production over the next 2 years, even helping the team get to the semifinals of the Korak Cup in 1992. Now that the Iron Curtain was lifted, Arvydas can now play for independent Lithuania in the Barcelona Olympics in 1992. He averaged 24 points, 12.5 rebounds, 3.5 steals, and 3.5 blocks as he helped secure the bronze medal for his country. He would then sign with Real Madrid. In 3 years with that club, he won 2 MVPs, 2 Spanish League titles, and a EuroLeague title in 1995. As in his third season, he averaged 23 points, 13 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.5 steals, and 2.5 blocks. From 1985 to 1988, Sabonis played an extremely heavy schedule, with his lack of rest taking a toll on his future health and durability. His teams consistently rushed him back from his numerous leg injuries, as the most famous example was in 1988 when he had a procedure on his Achilles in Portland but was rushed back to play for the Soviet Union in the Olympics before he was fully recovered, a decision that was protested by Portland and later heavily criticized. After his last season in Real Madrid, Portland's then GM Bob Whitsick contacted Sabonis about playing in the NBA. After looking at his x-rays, Bob later said Arvydas could have qualified for a handicapped parking spot. Despite his injury history, the Blazers still signed him. The Clyde Drexler era was over in Portland, as after their finals loss in 1992, they had suffered 3 straight first-round exits. They had some decent players like Cliff Robinson and Rod Strickland, but that was pretty much it. But now 31-year-old Sabonis initially came off the bench behind Chris Dudley, but he would easily adapt to the NBA game. He dropped 17 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals on November 18th against the Suns. Then 3 games later, he had 23 points on 8 of 8 shooting, including 3 for 3 from the three-point line. He had 23 points, a season-high 17 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks on March 8th against the Kings. Although Arvydas wasn't as mobile as he used to be, he still showed his all-around game, recording 17 20-point games, 23 games with double-digit rebounds, 3 games with 5 or more assists, and 8 games with 3 or more blocks. Portland relied on their defense this year as they finished 44-38. Sabonis averaged 14.5 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and a block, as he finished as the runner-up for the Rookie of the Year and Sixth Man of the Year. He would be the starter in their first-round series against Utah, as he had 26 points and 6 rebounds in Game 1, but John Stockton had 23 assists in a Jazz victory. Sabonis had 26 and 12 in Game 2, but the Blazers shot 38% compared to Utah's 59% as they went down 2-0. Sabonis dropped 27 and 12 in Game 3, as Portland snuck out a 3-point win in overtime. He dropped 25 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists, along with 3 3-pointers in Game 4 as Portland took advantage of Utah's poor shooting to tie the series. Game 5 was a disaster for Portland as they only had 38 points going into the fourth quarter. They ended the game with only 64 points as the Jazz beat them by almost 40. Sabonis would play for his home country in the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta. He averaged 16 points, 9 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 2 steals on their 50-40-90 splits as Lithuania won another bronze. Portland completely overhauled their roster heading into 1996, bringing in Kenny Anderson, Stacey Augmon, Rasheed Wallace, Isaiah Ryder, and Jermaine O'Neal. Sabonis continued as a starting center, providing solid production. He dropped 17 points, 17 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks on November 7th, along with his NBA career high of 33 points, along with 12 rebounds and 3 assists on January 4th. Sabonis had 19 double-doubles, also finishing 4th in defensive rating, as Portland's new additions made them more balanced offensively, as he finished 49 and 33. Sabonis averaged 13.5 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and a block, as Portland faced the Lakers in the first round. He dropped 18 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks in Game 1, but Shaq dropped 46 on 11 in the Lakers' blowout win. Arvydas only played about 19 minutes in Game 2, as Portland lost again. He went scoreless in Game 3, but Kenny Anderson dropped 35 and 5 to help Portland get on the board. Sabonis bounced back with 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists in Game 4, but Kenny and Clifford combined for 6 for 21 shooting, as the Blazers suffered another first-round exit. Portland added more pieces in Damon Stoudemire, Brian Grant, and Walt Williams to begin 1997, as Arvydas would have his best NBA season. He dropped 23 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals in the third game of the season, followed by 32 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists on January 3rd. Sabonis had 19 20-point games, 3 30-point games, 3 20-rebound games, 16 games with 5 or more assists, 4 games with 3 or more steals, and 9 games with 3 or more blocks, along with a career-high 36 double-doubles. Portland was a balanced team again, as 7 players averaged double figures. Sabonis finished 9th in rebounding, 4th among centers in assists, and 7th in defensive rating, as he averaged 16 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and a block. The 46 and 36 Blazers faced the Lakers again, but Sabonis only played about 27 minutes a game, averaging 12 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 steals. But Shaq averaged 29 and 12 on 65% shooting, as the Blazers lost in 4 games. The 1998 season was shortened by a lockout, as teams wouldn't start playing until February. Sabonis dropped 16 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists on March 5th. 28 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks on the 19th, and 21 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks on the 28th. He finished 16th in field goal percentage and 7th in defensive rating, as the Blazers had the 5th best offense in the league, finishing 35 and 15. Sabonis averaged 12 points, 8 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and 1.5 blocks. Portland faced the Suns in round 1, as Sabonis dropped 14 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 blocks in Game 3 to help the Blazers win their first playoff series since 1992. Portland faced the Jazz in the second round, as Sabonis averaged 11 points and 10 rebounds in a 6-game series win. The Spurs were next in the conference finals, but the Blazers didn't have the big man depth to compete with San Antonio, so they were swept. Portland looked to build on their conference finals appearance, as they signed a free agent Detlef Schrempf, along with trading for Scottie Pippen and Steve Smith. Arvydas had 17 double-doubles, as even though he could barely move at this point, he was still contributing, as on December 8th, he dropped 18 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. He finished 11th in field goal percentage, 20th in free throw percentage, and 6th in defensive rating, as the Blazers' new additions, especially Scottie, helped them have the 3rd best defense in the league, finishing 59 and 23. Sabonis averaged 12 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block, as the Blazers easily got past the Timberwolves and the Jazz, facing the Lakers in the conference finals. This was a back-and-forth series that went to a highly controversial Game 7. With Portland up by 6 heading into the 4th, they shot 5 for 23 while Pippen and Sabonis both fouled out, and the Lakers shot 18 free throws in the quarter, leading to them winning by 5, as the Blazers choked away their best chance of the title. The Blazers added Rod Strickland and Sean Kemp in 2000, but they were both past their primes. Sabonis was now 36 as Portland ran an extremely slow-paced offense to make up for his lack of mobility. Even with a minutes restriction, Arvydas was still producing well, dropping 4 20-point games, 6 games with double-digit rebounds, and 6 games with 3 or more blocks, with his season high coming on April 6th against Golden State when he dropped 32 points, 10 rebounds, and a career-high 6 blocks on 11 of 12 shooting. Rasheed Wallace had stepped up as the best player on the team, as Portland still kept their defensive identity, finishing 50 and 32. Sabonis averaged 10 points, 5.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and a block. The Blazers faced the Lakers again in the first round, but the Lakers were too dominant by this point, winning every game by double digits in an easy sweep. In the offseason, Sabonis refused to sign an extension with the Trailblazers and retired from the NBA. In his own words, he was tired mentally and physically. Instead, he returned to Europe, signing a 1-year deal with his former club Žalgiris. But he spent this season recovering from injuries and resting. Arvydas returned to Portland for one more season in 2002. The Blazers still had Rasheed, Scottie, and Damon, but they had some new pieces in Derek Anderson, an improved Bonzi Wells, and a young Zach Randolph. Arvydas played a small role off the bench this season, but he was still putting up decent numbers. On November 26th against Houston, he dropped 6 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 6 blocks. He dropped a season-high 16 points, along with 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 4 blocks on March 17th against the Pacers. Portland was at the middle of the pack on both sides of the ball, but they were still a great team, finishing 50 and 32 on the season. Sabonis averaged 6 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 2 assists. The Blazers faced the Mavericks in the first round, as they had the elite offense with Dirk, Steve Nash, and Michael Finley. Sabonis had limited minutes, but in Game 3, he dropped 16 points in 14 minutes, but the Mavs won to take a 3-0 series lead. Portland stormed back to tie the series, as Arvydas dropped 16 points in 12 minutes in Game 6. He got the start in Game 7, dropping 16 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 blocks, but Dirk dropped 31-11, and Nick Van Exel dropped 26 points off the bench to help the Mavs advance. Sabonis returned to Žalgiris in 2003, where he averaged 17 points, 11 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1 steal, and 1.5 blocks, winning the EuroLeague regular season and top 16 MVP, while leading the EuroLeague in rebounds and blocks. After this season, he would officially retire from basketball after a 23-year career. After his retirement, he worked as the president of the Lithuanian Basketball Federation. His 3 sons will all go on to play pro basketball, with his youngest son Domantas playing for the Kings, as he's currently a 3-time All-Star and a 2-time All-NBA player. Arvydas was one of the first unicorns in basketball history, as at 7'3", he could pass, run the floor, rebound, block shots, and space the floor out to the 3-point line. He started his pro career at 17, but at 22, he was a legit NBA prospect. But due to the political climate at the time, he was allowed to play in America, robbing the Blazers of a potential all-time pairing with prime Clyde Drexler. Even with this roadblock, he still continued to dominate in Europe, but by the time he was finally able to play stateside, he had so much mileage on his legs that he could barely move once he got to the league. But even with his physical limitations, Arvydas still showed the all-around play that made him such a coveted prospect, as Nikola Jokic is probably the only player since to play a similar style to Arvydas. Some people say that his performance in the 1988 Olympics inspired the Dream Team, as the US felt that they needed to now send NBA players to compete on the global stage. Man, thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate y'all. Like, I always wanted to look at Arvydas Sabonis because he was such a unique player. Think about it. He's 7'3", and he can do everything on the court. Like, I'm looking at his highlights from overseas. I'm like, this dude is a monster. Like, he's doing everything. Like, he's blocking shots, he's passing, he's an elite rebounder, and then he's shooting threes. Like, somebody 7'3" shooting threes in 1985? Like, that's practically unheard of. There was no stretch bigs in the 80s. Maybe Bob McAdoo was the first stretch big, but even he wasn't shooting threes. So it's like, this is one of the most unique players to ever play the game. I can't stop thinking about how good he would have been next to a prime Clyde Drexler. That team would have been deadly. Like, that would have been such a nasty team. With the way he passes, that would have opened up the offense so much. But, you know, politics, you can't really control that. Like, especially internationally, he's one of the best international players ever. But it's great that his son is playing great. Like, his son plays like him too. His son definitely plays like him a lot. Maybe not the same defender that his father was, but he still has the shooting, the rebounding, the passing, all those elements of the game. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate y'all. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Turn my post notifications on if you haven't already. Thank you. Please be safe. I'm out. Peace.